Hello, this is Sandra Lee with this week's Thursday Tips for Thriving video. I want to talk about symptoms and trauma. I have been a massage therapist for 29 years, and I have seen a lot of people, obviously, who have symptoms, who have physical symptoms. And in my experience, people tend to think of physical symptoms purely on a physical level only. And if they've been injured, it kind of makes sense to them that they would have symptoms in a certain area. But other than that, they don't really think too much, make the connection between the things going on in life and what's going on in their body. The most obvious example is all of the people who have neck and shoulder tension and pain. And when I ask, so what's been going on in your life? Do you have a lot of stress? And they just like, oh, well, yeah, there's all kinds of things going on right now. Things are crazy out there in the world. And they don't make the connection between their physical symptoms here and those stresses and pressures. So the first tip for thriving today for you is when you have physical symptoms, look at your life. Do you have a lot of stress going on? And might that be weighing on your shoulders, being a pain in the neck that's leading to you having these symptoms? And when you become aware of that, helping you to release that stress, release the weight of those responsibilities and pressures from your body, at least temporarily, can make a tremendous difference in reducing symptoms. And in Biofield Tuning, it's even more effective at helping you to be able to release that load from your shoulders all of the time in sessions, individual sessions, and in group sessions. When I do Biofield Tuning and set this intention of putting that load down, releasing that stress, everybody feels so much calmer and looser. It's like they're surprised at how much looser and more free it feels just from doing a little bit of Biofield Tuning and setting intention to release that stuff. So even without the Biofield Tuning, you can do some of that. It might not be as effective. In my opinion, it is not as effective, but it's certainly better than nothing. For you, oh, I have all the stress and pressure, and I'm just going to let that go. Allow it to release from my body so I don't have to carry it around. Big tip for thriving for you. Now, let's talk about taking it to another level, to trauma. Really difficult circumstances, either physical injury or, all of the different sorts of trauma that happen. We're going to talk about big trauma and little trauma. So for me, in my childhood, I feel like everything I had to do, everything I did had to be perfect, and that I was never good enough, and that I was always failing, and I felt like everything I did and said was wrong. That's traumatic. It really was, and it affected my beliefs about myself, how I think about myself, and I have physical symptoms, not so much now since I've learned how to manage it, but I used to have a lot of physical symptoms associated with these issues. For me, one of the many areas where it showed up was tightness in my solar plexus, and my digestive system getting all messed up. Physical symptoms associated with traumatic events in my history. Let me tell you a little bit about one of my clients. She features prominently in a lot of my videos because she wants me to tell her story, and she is such a good example of how all of this trauma, symptoms, and the effectiveness of Biofield Tuning, she's a wonderful example of that. Tremendous amount of trauma in my poor friend's life. earlier. And she had a lot of pain when she started working with me. She had a lot of mental and emotional limitations, not much motivation, all sorts of things were going on for her, physical and non-physical symptoms. She was really stuck in so many different ways. And through doing Biofield Tuning, she has been offloading this stuff, like wholesale letting go of things from the past, these traumas from the past, and the limiting beliefs about herself and what is possible for her life. As a result, she is like a totally different person, and her physical symptoms are so much better. She is changing week by week, practically unrecognizable compared to the person that she was before. Again, both in terms of symptoms and freedom to be yourself in life. So when you have symptoms, what trauma might be in your past that is contributing to you having those symptoms? And are you ready and able to release yourself from the weight of that so that you can have more freedom to be yourself in your life? I hope this has been useful, educational, something you've benefited from. Thank you for watching. Leave me comments if you think this has been wonderful. Thanks. Breathe.